Ever wonder how some financial services and fintech leaders learned about money when they were kids? Well, we've asked them 4 important questions to get their answers, and you definitely will want to hear them. Join me today as we hear from Mary Wisniewski, editor-at-large at Cornerstone Advisors. Hey everyone, Mac Gardner here, author of Motivate Your Money and the global best-selling children's book, The 4 Money Bears. I am joined today by the one, the only Mary Wisniewski, editor-at-large at Cornerstone Advisors. Mary, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, hello. Yeah, it's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Now, Mary, for folks that may not be familiar with who you are and your platform, take a few minutes, please, and share a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so my background, I'm someone who always wanted to be a journalist. So that's what I studied in college, and I lucked out and got my first job in New York City, and I was covering high-end jewelry for the industry. But my section folded within the year, and so I put myself in a scramble of like, I need income, and I still wanted to be media because that's what I care most about. And I lucked into a job at a small media company, and oddly, it was covering debt collection, like the technology debt collectors use. And why I say that's odd is because I was really covering high-end jewelry, so it was like swinging from one end to the other. It was like wild. But that put me on a path to start covering fintech, and so I've written about fintech for American Banker, for Bankrate, for some local news, and I've also edited content. And now I'm at Cornerstone Advisors. I host a show called Money's and Everything, where I sit down with early stage fintech entrepreneurs to learn about like what they're doing, and I also help shape the consultancy's content.
That's awesome because the fact that you have spent time on the financial services side and the fintech side, Mary, I think is really, really awesome. We're really working with this interview project. We're going to be launching our For Money Bears Berryville game, and we're trying to get perspectives from folks from all different areas of this financial services, fintech CEOs, and the journalist side too. So I'm so glad that you're able to join us today because part of what we do at Finlit Tech, our mantra is building a bridge between financial literacy and financial technology. And we believe fintech is a really, really amazing resource that can really implement a lot of change. So I'm excited to hear your answers to our 4 questions when it comes to money and early thoughts about it. So are you ready for question number 1?
Bring it.
Here we go. So, Mary, what was your earliest memory of money or financial education?
So it wasn't like a traditional lesson. I had a split family where my dad was the CFO, my mom was the librarian who like championed do the creative things, and my dad was definitely like mind the money. But somehow I might have not listened. But
you have listened. You listened.
I was like, I don't know what that is. I'm here listening to my mom. But one of the things that I know that for sure happened was, I do like little chores around the house, and one of them was sorting socks, and I'd get like a quarter per pair, and I had like that physical piggy bank that I remember. I'd like tuck money in there, and so like that was just building up like a little bit of money. But then of course, during high school and maybe even late middle school, the summer jobs of, I worked as a library page, which was very dull. It's only 3-hour shifts though, but it's like putting books away, and grimy books away. And I also waited tables a bit. So yeah, so those were my 2, like but that was more teenager years. So the youngest was like getting the quarters for doing little chores.
And what I find fascinating about this interview series that we're doing, Mary, is when I ask that question, the vivid memory comes like that as to what that first engagement with money was. And it's amazing how that first memory shapes our relationship with money. Are you a saver? You remember saving? Do you remember having to work for it? So that sort of value attached that I know if I needed money, if I needed to get it, I had to work because no one's going to give it to me. So that's fascinating that your first one, it really it's around saving it. It's around working for it. And do you believe that has shaped how you work and view money to this day?
I'm sure it has. I'm sure it has, and I definitely always love the reward system. It's like
Yeah.
here you get something for something that maybe wasn't so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to your point, yeah, it is striking those first memories because it's like, oh hey, look at me, and I even remember like my grandparents like maybe even give me a $5 bill or something, and be like,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
I'm rich.
Magic money. So
Yeah.
that leads to the second question, Mary. What did money represent in your home growing up?
To me,
Yeah.
to what age? What age range would you say?
I don't know. Give me a early to mid. You gave me a little early to teenage years. Really try to find out. Just did it represent something more than you thought it would? Now that you can look back at it.
This is actually a really tough question for me to ask. What did it represent then? I think it made me think like, oh, my parents are recognizing me with this tangible thing because I did something. So I think it was like, hey, here's another version of a check plus, like another grading system.
A reward then.
Yeah, a reward, because I wasn't, this was before like mobile apps or anything.
Yeah.
So I wasn't like I played the game of Monopoly, but I never considered that a serious. I was like, in what world am I owning a place? That was curious. I never pictured like owning a home when I was a child.
But all of a sudden.
Yeah, that happens.
You do things, you start accumulating, and then things start popping up, and you start acquiring assets. And
Yeah, ideally.
Yeah.
Ideally, that's the way it goes. Yeah.
That's interesting. So it was a reward system in your home. It was a way for you to sort of obtain things, maybe, the more you did it.
And the summer jobs, it was definitely like, hey, this is some of the money that I'm saving that will hopefully, help me, pay for things during college. But, I was a teenager. I was also buying things. I was buying little outfits to be like, yeah, I look cute today. Now in high school hallways.
Yeah. Of course.
Yeah.
The money had to do something for you. You couldn't just squirrel it away and save it. You got to actually do something with it in order.
That was hard disconnect for me, and I know I'm pretty sure my parents set up like a savings account for me for like the birthdays when the relatives would give a little money and tuck it away for that. But I did not have the mindset of like, hey, you need to build this savings, for emergencies and so on. Like that was definitely not how I was thinking about it, and like I think my parents sort of disconnected me from like their budgeting process. Like I didn't know. How they were thinking about it, but they would be thinking about it in very different ways.
Yeah, that's a fascinating response too, because one of the things that we often hear when we talk to people about money in homes is, was there conversations about money?
Yeah.
Did parents talk to you? Was it open? Was it closed? So it's just fascinating to hear the different responses and how things worked in one house. Culturally, certain cultures are very open when it comes to money. Certain cultures are like, no, we don't talk about it. It's just not what's done. So it's fascinating to hear you. All right, so this ties in nicely to question number 3. All right, I'm curious to hear your response. How do you think we should teach young people about money?
Well, okay, so for this, and this is just because I've covered a lot of like personal financial management tools over the years. And the one thing that's very clear is there's no one answer, right? Because like different things will spark people's imaginations in different ways. But I do think turning something a bit more into a game is something that could help engage people with their money. So I'm really bullish on things that kind of bring. It's funny to say it this way, but like joy to the experience.
You gotta want to do it.
You gotta want to do it. Like, and this is not an example for kids, but like Digit, which was acquired by Opportune, but Digit was one of the first fintech apps that I had zoomed in on. Gosh, I don't even remember what year it came out, but it was like playful. It's like even if you save $5, it might send you a GIF of like something funny. So it's like you can turn these like small money, we'll call them victories, money victories, and like make it fun. And so I think there's just a way to like bump up the
fun factor?
The fun factor, yeah. It doesn't have to be a total chore. It's like, it's just, it does require longer term thinking. And that is very hard, especially when you're young.
Yeah, and I think I totally agree with you. One of the things that we're trying to do with Berryville is to gamify the process, right? Gamification is a real thing. A lot of things that a lot of companies have found that if you want people to do things that they don't like doing, if you gamify it, they ended up doing it because there's joy attached to it and there's some sort of rewards that's going on. The other thing too that I think fintech can really help people on this journey to get better with their money is providing the actual tools and the ability to get the at-bats and to form the habits, right? Like, in our game, you're gonna run a store and you're gonna own a business and you're gonna have to buy stuff and you're gonna have to sell stuff and you have to understand that side of the money fence of how money's made. And the other side is once you've got it, okay, only 4 things you do with money, right? Spend it, save it, invest it, and give it away. That's what the 4 money bears are going to be there to do, to kind of teach the user, teach the game player all these things. Now that you've made it, now how do you manage it? And we're going to give the game player lots of different tools in the game and then connectivity and little worksheets and stuff for parents. So I agree totally. It has to be fun and it has to be something that allows people to not feel like it's a chore. But feel like enjoying it.
And I'll be curious about this. Just last year, I partnered, Cornerstone Advisors partnered with this company called Fritch, which is geared toward Gen Z right now. But one thing that's been happening with that demographic is like sharing, being really forthcoming about like their money, like even like going on TikTok and being like, this is how much debt I have. So I'm just wondering, I mean, who knows how generations will evolve or whatever, but if there is this more like openness to talking about money, I mean, I only think of that as like a good thing, like an emotional thing, certainly, but like a good thing. And I just wonder how that might ripple down and affect financial education.
Yeah, we will both be watching.
We both will be watching.
We're both in the fintech space, see what's going on. All right, last question. Ready?
Yeah. Bring
All right. Mary, please share the best advice you've ever been given when it comes to money.
Oh, gosh, the best advice. Well, one thing that I learned early on in my career was find out what someone is making before you sign the contract, if it's possible. There is a huge difference of what one can make, and it's very good to know where that barometer is. And I think that's especially helpful for early in your career. And now that I'm outside of it, I think it's just like the best advice. Even if you don't budget, and I'm not someone who's very like by the books in terms of budgeting. I know when I spend more and then I try to spend less. It's a little, there's room for improvement. Let's say. For sure. No one's but I would say great advice is whenever you get extra money, maybe it's a month where you get 3 paychecks, maybe it's a month when you just earn some commission or whatever, pay a bill that you know is coming up. So it's like a budgeting hack, and I think it's something that has served me well.
So pay it before you know it's coming, just kind of get it knocked out.
Yeah.
I like that. Budgeting hacks.
Budgeting hacks for those who don't like budgeting.
I love it. That sounds like an app, Mary. That sounds like an app.
Or a book.
Coming up. Or a book. It's coming up. Mary, I want to thank you so much. Anything you'd like to share with us as we wrap up this interview?
No, I'll just be curious to experience your game, and congratulations on that. And I think it's just fintech has a great opportunity to not only make money, since it's like fintechs are companies wanting to make money, but also like do good work for consumers because there's so much, I've covered fintech since 2007 and there's still so much room, let's say areas to improve for the industry. Yeah.
Amen to that, sister. Amen to that. Mary, I'd like to thank you again for your time and for sharing your story. And as I like to say, the journey continues.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks for joining us today. We hope you'll join us for our next engaging episode. Be sure to follow us on LinkedIn and visit www.the4moneybears.com.